Hello and welcome to the EFN YouTube channel. This video is dedicated to the nurses' voice. EFN, which represents 3 million nurses in the EU and 6 million in Europe, through this session wants to give a direct voice to frontline nurses. The aim of this video is to tell through the nurses' voice their experience in the healthcare ecosystem post-COVID-19 pandemic. Through this video, they will themselves tell you what they experience every day and all the difficulties they face in taking care of other people. EFN wants to focus on all the key issues related to the nursing profession. Let's start with a testimony from Norway.
I'm a representative for the Norwegian Nurse Association. My name is Tom. I'm a scrub nurse and I have worked as a scrub nurse for 2 years. My work is to take care of all the nurses in part of the hospital. I'm responsible for around 700 or 800 nurses every day, making their life better, taking care that they get their rights and make sure they have good work environments and the key challenges for nurses in Norway is still the same as during the pandemic. Maybe we don't wear masks or extra coats, but the workload is still high. We struggle to get the nurses we need. There is available positions all over the hospitals, and Norway has depended a lot on foreign help. Foreign nurses, specialized nurses, intensive care nurses, and after the pandemic we are struggling to get other nurses back. Like the Swedish nurse, they now work in Sweden, and that's a problem because we are in big shortage and we have used them for years, so we don't have enough for ourselves. Norway doesn't have a lot of problem with exodus of nurses because we usually immigrate nurses due to higher salary than a lot of other European countries. But there is some nurses who travel abroad working as travel nurses or other things, but there is a focus on that we need to provide for our own healthcare, our own nurses, so we are trying to educate more, and so we don't take nurses from, example, Spain or Denmark, or because there is a shortage in the world and everybody needs to provide for themselves. The Norwegian nurses are struggling with a very high workload, and it's because we don't have enough nurses. We have based our healthcare system on having enough nurses, and our system is that the community nurses, we need a lot of them. And over time, nurses has taken over a lot of other tasks that nurses don't have to do, and that's one of the main struggles now, because nurses do everything. We cook food, we serve food, we clean. We need to take other professions in that can do the work nurses don't need to do, because we don't have enough. Like I already said, we need to take in other professions that can do the job the nurses don't need to do. We need to focus on education. We need to educate more nurses. We need to educate more specialized nurses. We need to invest more in technology. We cannot work as we do now because we don't have enough people. There is a rise in the elderly care that we know if we are going the same way like we do today, we don't have enough. So we need to change the system and try to work on another way to make sure we can care for them for the future. The Norwegian healthcare system is based on a business model. We have a base finance and an effort-based finance. So the hospitals earn money by doing procedures, and the procedures doesn't make the care better. It don't provide more people. During the pandemic, I think the community or the population has gained a better view of what nurses are, what they do, and their appreciation in the country or what they are worth. But there are clear things that need to change because it's not sustainable at the rate we are going now. Because you cannot just put money on a problem. You need to change how things are today. We see there is not enough nurse and the workload is too high, so what can we do? The EFN needs to make sure that nurses get their position in the European Union. We need to take charge of what a nurse is and what a nurse is supposed to do in the future. We see here in Norway that we try to give away things that nurses do today, give away procedures that nurses do, and all is because they have a emergent shortage of nurses. We need to see how are we going to work in the future and not just tomorrow. We need to make a good plan that is sustainable for generations. They need to make sure that we get enough nurses. We need to look at the education program, but at the same time they need to make sure that the quality of the nurses' education is up to standards. We have a lot of ideas in Norway that maybe are not that good. Maybe they need to have some evaluation because they try to take some of the practice away and make it like a lab-based practice. I don't know if that's a good way to go, but it is important that the EU makes the standards for the rest of the European countries. We need to have the same idea what a nurse is supposed to do. And like I said, we need to look for the future and what work is for the future, because there will be a shortage of nurses and we need to work in another way that we do at this time. Like I already said 100 times, we need to educate more nurses, but there is no need of educating a lot of nurses if they quit. We see in Norway that every 1 in 5 nurses quit just after a couple of years. And the main reasons they quit is because the workload is too high. We need to get the workload down. We need to speak good about what a nurse is so that we get people who want to work as a nurse. And we also need to get the status up of what a nurse is and we need to raise the wages for the nurses, because today the wages is not enough to make a loan for a house, or there is difficulties.
These stories highlight all the critical issues related to the nursing profession. Nurses are the backbone of the healthcare system, and without them it risks collapsing. Thank you for following this video, and remember, nurses' voice matters.